Has everyone migrated across to this live stream? Is it obvious that this one now exists and the other one doesn't? Okay, well, I've clearly messed that up. For some reason, when you use Streamlabs, okay, everyone's got audio. That's good. Let's see if we can get a thumbnail. Nope. Okay, I'm just going to leave it a couple of minutes while everyone trickles in again, but I do want to try and get the thumbnail from the old video onto this one. Sorry. We won't be too long. So obviously today we're going to be taking a look at this mini 3D printer. You can get it online in a couple of different places, like I said before when nobody could hear. This particular one is from Labists, and they're selling that on Amazon in the UK with Prime for £119.99, so basically 120 quid. Delivered, printer, done. So that, from that regard, looks pretty promising. But today I want to kind of find out if it's more of a toy or a child's kind of education thing, or can it also be a bit more of a tool, something you can rely on? Is it going to be decent enough to be able to use regularly? We shall find out, hopefully. So now we've got that really awkward and bumpy start over and done with. Hopefully changing the thumbnail doesn't destroy the stream as well. Okie dokie. This is better with sound. Who'd have thought? Okie dokie. Right. Let's have another go at this. So, welcome everyone back to another stream. Awkward hellos, and this is a printer. So, yes, Labists, thank you very much to them for sending this over. You can, I think I left link in the description. So, if you need, well, if you want one, go take a look at there. It's not an affiliate link or anything, but it is a link on Amazon to them. So, in the box we got a small bit of PLA, probably like 10 meters. Spool holder, looks like acrylic, laser, ooh. Well, that laser cutting all looks a little bit of a, yeah, nice. It's all kind of burnt around the edges. But it looks like it will work, so can't complain too much. As we go through this, we do have to remember that it's £120 or like less from other places. USB cable, a little toolkit. So in here we have, looks like some rubber feet. Well, that's a nice luxurious item for such a cheap printer. 2 screws, a screwdriver, and an SD card, micro SD card, and SD card reader. In multiple places they keep calling this a TF card. I don't know what a TF card is, but I presume it's meant to say SD card. It's also coloured blue, which makes you think it's USB Type 3, but I can guarantee it isn't. So yes, that's the accessories. Packaging, polystyrene, not super great, single-use plastics and all that. Be nice to have, like, I don't know, more cardboard or other recyclable materials. Next down in the box, we've got this whole, like, gantry thing. So it looks like it has been, I mean, I don't know if test is the right word, but there's plastic coming out the nozzle. And it doesn't look like used, so presumably they do run a small test to check functionality before it leaves the factory, which is good, I suppose. More polystyrene. And I think this is attached to everything else, so it's all coming out together. Okay, well now I need a third hand. Let's just dangle this out here. And this is the power supply. Wow. 12 volts, 2.5 amps. 40 watts-ish? No, 30. Yeah, 30 watts. Wow. How do they manage to do all this with 30 watts? That's right, isn't it? I can't do maths when it's on a live stream, so. 2.5 times 12. 24 and 6. 30 watts, yeah. Well, so that's everything now in the box. Job done. It looks like this should be fairly easy to put together. So, but then also it looks easy to set up a live stream, and I've managed to fail that. So who knows? La la la. Proper end switches. Magnetic removable bed. This is kind of a build-tack sort of type plastic, but it's not build. Oh, well, it's not build-tack, but it is. It's like a textured plastic. The fact that it's magnetic is kind of cool, but it doesn't line up. Bed is not heated. Oh golly, that's a weird belt path. Okie dokie, sure. Oh, that's how they're tensioning it. Interesting. At least there is a tension mechanism. 3-point screw leveling. This is actually more interesting than I thought it would be for a £130 printer. I kind of want to see what control board and stuff is in here. So before we actually assemble it, let's disassemble it first. I'm not going to use that, sorry, but this is a child screwdriver. I can barely hold it in my hand. Let's get a maybe less. Let's have it here. A less annoying sized screwdriver. So obviously this is not part of the instructions. Hopefully that's obvious. But I think if I didn't look at what's inside, I'd never live it down. So let's look at what's inside first, and then we'll put it together. I was going to title this video something like the Prusa Mini Killer, just because it just looks like a budget Prusa Mini, just because of its cantilever design, but let's be honest with ourselves. I don't think that's going to be the case. But you never know, so we shall see. And if I do a full, like, separate review, maybe we'll name that one more like that. Okie dokie. So this is an ET4000 version 2 using Atmega 1284p. So very basic 8-bit sort of low memory. It's not. It has half the memory, 2560, hence the 1284. I'm going to guess these are A4988. Okie dokie. So there are trim pots for each of these stepper drivers. So if you wanted to be really keen, you could tune this tune the stepper current using VREF. Trans Flash TF, got it. Trying to just catch up with a bit of chat. Budget is more like BTEC Prusa Mini. Oh yeah, yeah. Is this 3D printed plastic or molded? This is all molded. It's all injection molded. Nothing 3D printed. There are some the like sheet parts, if you like. The flat parts, so just profile, is acrylic by the looks of it. So that's where you see white pieces. So here, the bed, this thing, and this thing, they're going to be acrylic, as is this thing. All the red parts are injection molded. So the on the top of this stepper driver it says HR4988. Of course, it's HR498. It's the 4988 stepper driver. I mean, I guess we're not surprised. Don't know why this plug is black and the rest are white, but other than that, I don't think there's anything particularly spectacular to report back. Everything is kind of expected. Interestingly, there are plugs for a heated bed. So if you wanted to do a heated bed upgrade, that could be something you may want to consider. It also has an option for a 24 volt input. I don't know if you need to do other configuration or headed jumpers to change that, but it says input is 12 to 24 volts. So I guess you could change this to, well, that would be interesting. Super cheap budget upgrades of super cheap budget printer. I mean, this is one thing it is missing, but does it really need it? I suppose it's not even a question, is it? Yeah, so yeah, there's a thermistor plug and there's a heater output plug socket thing for wires. Upgrading this. Yeah, but it would be quite funny. But you never know. For people with like who want to do it with their kids, maybe it's more appropriate. I think the safety is going to be a big factor. We'll have to take those. There's no screen. This baffles me. I don't know what we're going to be printing when we press print. Presumably you could also do tethered printing if that was a thing you wanted to do. Oh, why does it has a USB plug on the side, so that would give you a little bit more control over exactly what you're actually going to be printing, rather than the SD card, which could be a little bit pot luck. I don't know. Would it be easy to add an LCD? I don't know. If this is an expansion 1 header, so if it's running Marlin, which I guess wouldn't be a massive surprise if it was. I don't know what firmware it's running, so I mean, I don't know what's on that SD card either. I'm gonna have to go get a computer that I can plug that into. Potentially that EXP1 header, I think you can use to add a screen, an LCD panel instead. I think. I'm not 100%. I don't know if you, this is, well, that thread's just dead. Of course, it's the cheapest A4988. It's $100. I was just wondering if there was other cheaper, even cheaper options. Who knows? Sometimes these machines just come out with the wildest, wackiest design choices that you couldn't even imagine. I think the streamer can't see my messages. Have I been shadow banned? No, I'm reading your messages. I just can't respond to literally everything. So, the stepper drivers are like, oh, well that's, seeing as that is temptingly loose, let's take this off quickly. And so they're not obviously full NEMA stepper drivers. Well, they might still be NEMA, but they're not NEMA 7. I've just immediately lost the correct number. NEMA 17, 12 volt DC motors, 2.5 watt stepper motor. Not sure what that type is, but they're not the standard 3D printed. Oh, that duct. There's a little cooling duct here for part cooling. which in itself is a bit of a surprise, but quite nice to see. And that has a little 3D printed duct. So that's pretty cool. Which is actually really good to see, considering you're not going to be printing anything but PLA. You do need plenty of cooling. Presumably NEMA 14, yeah. Although I'm not exactly sure what NEMA 14 spec looks like. I'm just going to quickly Google NEMA 14. Oh, no, they're not NEMA 14 because they're not a square-bodied stepper motor. Don't know. Okie dokie, so let's see what the assembly instructions say. PLA, filament, screwdriver, 2 screws. You've got So build size is 100mm cubes. Print speed, it says 10 to 60mm a second. I think 60 is probably quite optimistic, but you never know. Excuse me. Machine size is 245 by 205 by 210. So, I mean, the entire printer can fit inside the print volume of almost an Ender 3. Almost certainly a Prusa Mini. No, Prusa Mark III. It has its own custom slicer, which is, I mean, it's probably a skinned Cura. That's, oh yeah, Lab Slicer Cura or S3D. I mean, anything that exports G-code. It is a bit strange. For something so budget, yeah, I'm not sure if yeah. Surely you would go and try and just use slicers that are already available to save money and keep down the cost of the machine. But maybe they thought it was worth it for changing the usability. Presumably the functionality is super basic. Oh, I forgot the instructions. Oh, thank you for the, yes, thank you. Thank you for noticing, Tom. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, same spools on every printer. Well, yeah, I bought loads of it, so it's everywhere. So, step 1 assembly. Install the XZ axis set to the printer base. So, I'm thinking that's got to go down. So that's good. I'm just being an idiot here. No? What? Oh, there we go. That wire is just going to get caught. Oh, it's got to go through the bottom. Of course it has. Oh, that's just... I'm jamming the wires in already. How is this? Okay, well, we've sort of managed that. Hopefully we've not damaged anything. It's a 28BYJ48 stepper motor. Well, there you go. Now we all know. We are enlightened by the stepper motor gods. These are the cheaper stepper motors which are used mostly in small Arduino projects than were used on the TK3D. Yeah. I remember there was the Hero 101, I think, used these very tiny motors as well. Oh, stop improvising. Follow the instructions. So, insert the 2 screws. I mean, it's weird that the nuts are on the screws, because presumably people know to take them off, but these days, you never know. Well, go in, please. Thank you. Look at all this rigidity. It's so rigid. Rigidity like you've never seen it before. Regarding $99, $95 and £130, so, well, 120. So you'll notice in the title it's a quote. Linus Tech Tips did a video on the Easythreed. They said $95 printer. It's exactly the same printer, so many people might know it as the $95 3D printer, hence the use of $95 in the title. This exact machine from Labists was £120 on Amazon UK. But depending on the place you buy it, obviously the price changes. So there you go. I really wish I had this text on a bigger screen. I have to like squint at it to see it, and it doesn't help with loads of bright lights. Linear rail build, I have all the stuff ready to go for that now. I was going to do it tonight, but I was a bit exhausted, so I just thought I'd do something easy instead. Connect the Z-axis motor wire to the black wire of the printer control box as shown in the figure below. So connected to this black wire, which is not black. I mean, it's the only wire. So yeah, this black wire that's grey, connected to that. These are small. Which way around? It doesn't really... That looks about right. Install the filament holder. Look at this for a filament holder. Ooh, screws. Oh, come on. Good evening from London. You're not far away. Oh, 3D Maker Noob did it. I think I remember seeing that. I'm not totally sure. As I said, it's priced differently wherever you buy it from. Is generally the rule. Oh, I didn't need to take these screws out. What a fool. Some places had it for like £70, but with £40 shipping. So, but then if you want it next day, then it's really useful to get it from somewhere that you can get it on Amazon Prime. So. Okie dokie. Are we done? Hang the filament. So, as well as this filament that came with it, that's now gone. They also kindly sent over this box of PLA, which has lots of little, tiny little spools in. So, this can be purchased separately. It's 4 250-gram spools, and I think it was like £25-ish. So, not the greatest deal for only 1 kilogram of filament, but if you consider the use case where you're not going to be printing massive things anyway, small trinkets, 250 grams does go a fairly long way, and this gets you 4 different colours. So, it's probably, in reality, it's quite an economical way to get 4 colours of PLA. So, it comes with blue, white, black, and this lovely red. Don't know what the OEM of this filament is. On the box it claims tolerance of 0.02 millimeters, which seems optimistic, but don't have any way to check it, so just bear in mind it may not be quite as good as that text suggests. We must reserve judgment on cheaper printers until we have printed with them. Because you might be surprised. You might not be surprised, but you might be surprised. How? This is great. You can't get it. It actually has it in the picture this way around as well. You can't get it off. Oh, that's fantastic. Yes! Nailed it. Okie dokie. Hang the filament on the holder. Put the filament material through the Teflon hose. It hasn't even told me to turn it on yet. I'm 100% the instructions tell you to put it this way round. I totally agree that it would probably work better the other way round. But, oh, okay, I probably want this up. At least it's nice and bent. Oh, no. At least it's nice and bendy. Cool, so let's stick that up over there. So this appears to be a direct drive system. For what it's worth. Put the filament through the hole, through the Teflon hose. Excellent. Insert the power supply to a power port of the printer control box. After powering up, the button will light up. Note if printing is finished or no need to use it for quite a long time, please unplug the power supply. So it tells you to plug in one end but not the other end. I assume you should plug the other end in too. I know it wants to put the spool the other way around, but this is the way the instructions say to do it. We can all see it fairly clearly there, can't we? This helps with having a small printer. It's easy to deal with, unlike bloody like extrudenator and stuff that fills the entire desk. Right, I need to find somewhere to plug this in. Easier said than done. Yes. The lights might go out for a second. I need to steal this. I know you can't see anything at the moment. Just trying to sort out something so I can plug this printer into an outlet. Have we still got enough light? Because I've had to expend a light in order to... that should be okay. I'm going to be back in a second. I'm still here. I'm just trying to sort out where this cable is going. Okay. I think that's still enough light, isn't it? Hopefully, because running out of options. Right, so this goes in here. And then we wait for the magic smoke. Everyone cross your fingers. One of two things could happen. Either this black cable, which is not black and is grey, should have gone somewhere else and now goes here, or everything will be fine. There's only one way to find out. At least it'll be on video. There's not even a power switch. You plug it on, it just goes. So the light is now, oh, can you see? It's green. It's lighted up in green. It just uses little stepper motors. They're not proper NEMA motors in any regard. Apparently they're ones typically used with Arduinos for projects and such. This is the weirdest spool holder. So, for the first time to use this printer, you will need to level the platform. Please adjust the distance between the nozzle and the platform in 1, 2, 3, 4 points. The nozzle height above the platform should be 0.1 millimeters, which is the thickness of a sheet of A4 paper. Click the button Home, Z-axis. I can't even read now. Because it has these symbols which match this, but I'm trying to say home when it's a picture of a home. Z-axis will move to the home position. Move the nozzle to 0.1. Put a sheet of paper between the nozzle and the print platform. If the distance is too far, please turn the hand-twisted nut counterclockwise to make the print platform rise to the standard distance. If the distance between the nozzle and the platform is too close, please check the distance is right. So, do I have to manually move the nozzle after homing? Cool. I don't know if this is supposed to have done anything. I don't think so. So, and we're off. It smells a bit funky, I'll tell you that much. There's little bits of polystyrene everywhere, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's... Well, that bed is visibly flexing, so I'm going to guess it's too close. Paper, please. Don't have a papers. I need to get a papers. I keep a supply of calibrated leveling paper just nearby for such occasions. So, presumably, I can just move this and move this. Ouch. Right, I think that's still way too close. Okay. This is not particularly easy to get your fingers to. How the hell are you supposed to do that? Just lift up the entire printer, that'll do. Got to get it just right. Well, that's now way too close. Unfortunately, there's a hard piece of plastic on the end of the nozzle, so can't really... How do I... No, not that. Okay, well, this leveling is going to be terrible because there's a hard piece of plastic on the end of the nozzle, so I'm just scraping along that instead of the nozzle. VL touch. I think there might be some winging it and hoping for the best here. I don't know if you're supposed to turn it off to do this, because I'm just forcing the stepper motors. Because that's what it says to do. Or tilt and bend the rails. 5 kilograms spool holder. And then put a mosquito hot end so we can print at 500 degrees Celsius and melt the rest of the printer in the process. Oh dear. Right. Hopefully this is okay. Okay, we've done the 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Step 2. Load filament and feed. Insert filament into the print head tube until it can go no further. That can go no further. And gentle press the filament to stop it running back. Click the plus button. Light turn on and flash at a fast rate. Yep. Take for 1 minute. What? The nozzle is heating. Oh, so the nozzle wasn't hot. That's why the plastic was hard. That makes sense. So all the fans just turn on regardless. Sorry about 420 upgrade. And a Core XY mod. Who's going to do the Core XY mod? Let's not pass harsh judgments yet. We've not even got filament out the nozzle. It could still print pretty well. Remember, most of the quality you get from a print is from the settings, not from the printer. I think so, anyway. Any good frame can produce good prints, but not every bad frame can produce good prints. Does that make sense? Sort of? Maybe? Like, hopefully you know what I mean. Oh, it's slowing. After the button light, the machine begin to feed. It feeds successfully when there is regular silk come out of the nozzle. Then you can press plus to finish feed. Oh, so it'll just keep going forever until I press plus. I mean, the nozzle is basically touching the bed, so... But now I can do my levelling properly. Oh dear. Now I've got squidgy plastic everywhere. Ah, it's hot. There's just a big squidgy mess. Make sure the distance between the nozzle and the print bed is 3 centimeters at least. How do I get it to 3 centimeters? It's locked shut. I know, we turn it off and then do this. And then turn it back on again. And hold this. Cool. Well, that sticks pretty good. Now it's just going. Okie dokie. I reckon, the problem is there's now filament all coming out. It's this. Make sure the distance between the nozzle and the printing bed is 3 centimeters at least. If no enough space, press the button plus, play for 3 seconds, then release hand, Z-axis will go up 1 centimeter. Oh, why couldn't you tell me that before? When the machine stops printing, press plus for 3 seconds, then release. Every time the nozzle will go up 1 centimeter. Users can decide the height. It's not going up. Ah, okay. 1, 2, 3. Ah, look at that! Okie dokie. I don't know if it keeps it hot. Looks like it's all still pretty hot. Yep, that's hot. Okay, so presumably now we can put the SD card in, otherwise it's not going to know what to press. Yeah, so placing the SD card is just on the side of this main box. 512 megabytes. And we're in. Probably become your new prototyping machine. This is Ultimate 3D Printer. And go. During print, click the play button. The button light stops flashing, then printing paused. If need to continue print, click play to restore. The button light flashes again. The printer goes back to print. Stop print. If you want to stop print during... Oh, we're off. And the part cooling stopped. Ooh. All things considered, it's actually quite quiet. Oh, it didn't tell us to put the rubber thing... This could make all the difference, and it's not even in the instructions. But how am I going to lift it now? Well, as suspected, it's quite a long way from the... Trouble is the... I mean, I wouldn't say it's the fastest printer I've ever used, but it is the cheapest. Bit of live Z adjust as we go. Oh my goodness, I think it's doing a raft. Do we really need a raft? Was that absolutely necessary? Okay, we're getting a raft. Hopefully this print doesn't take hours. But once you hook this machine up to Octoprint, it will actually become very user-friendly. Decimal extrusions are 50mm, not 10. 10mm extrusion is quite stiff when built bearish. Okay, well, despite this roaring speed, I'm going to risk everything and attach these little... Oh, I've lost them. These little rubber foam feet. I think we can probably... Okay, I don't think these are going to be making much difference, to be honest. No, maybe they are. Ooh. It's kind of ruining the first layer, but I think it'll be okay. Well, this looks like it could take a while. Yeah, Octoprint would be quite an expensive... In fact, pretty much anything would be an expensive upgrade. Blake, thank you for the subscribe. Anyone else, feel free to like and subscribe. Now's an opportune time. We appear to have finished the unboxing. Check. Build. Check. first print in progress. So for anyone that wasn't here at the start, let's have a quick recap. This is the Labists Mini 3D Printing, 3D Printer Mini Printing. Labists Mini 3D Printer. In other places it's named things slightly differently. Thank you very much to Labists for sending this machine to me. You can get it now on Amazon Prime. It's £120, £119.99. So yeah, only 2 screws to put it together. They were very easy to do. Absolutely no challenge involved. No mains wiring. The power supply is all just very easily plugged in. You can get filament in 250 gram rolls. I think it's about £25 for the pack of 4, which is a reasonably effective way to get 4 different colours of filament. Otherwise you might be looking at like 4 times £20 or something, 4 times 15, 45 quid maybe for 4 kilos of different colours. 60 quid for 4 kilos of 4 colours. So I think actually reasonable cost. Found the like button, excellent. If anybody else hadn't found the like button yet, if you're new to the YouTubes, it's like here, I think just here, just below here, there's like a thing that does this. It's like a hand with a thumbs up. You only need to hit it once because otherwise it unlikes again afterwards. That's what we call the like button. You click it when you like something generally. This is going to be a long print. You can run Octoprint on a Pi Zero. Yes, apparently you can. I mean, yeah, I believe it's not ideal, but doable. I don't think it's the recommended or optimal scenario, but if you were on a budget, like you probably would be if you just bought a printer for £130, a Pi Zero for, I think, can't you get them for like £10 delivered? Pointed to 32 likes. We got 91 people and only 30 likes. 2/3 of you are just not good enough. Is there thermal runaway? I have no idea. I mean, you've only got 30 watts anyway, but I guess 30 watts could still go very wrong. I don't even know what firmware it runs. I don't really have anywhere to check. Normally you can tell by looking at the display. There's no display. I don't think it's going to say anywhere. I guess if it runs Marlin, we should be able to find an open source doobly somewhere. So I'm going to have a quick Google. Feel free to have a quick Google too. Let's see who can find it first. User guide, troubleshootings. Troubleshootings? That sounds not ideal. They've got other Pi related stuff. Countries, shipping fees, PO box, payments, others, tracking, returns. Yeah, I can't see anything about open source firmware, so it probably does run Marlin because every printer does. Not every printer. Many, especially low-cost printers, do because it's free, provided you do obey the open source requirements, which requires you to publish your modifications. Wow, this is tightly wound PLA. You can contact me via the business email on YouTube page, but if it's not business related, I mean, if it's not like relevant, then I just won't respond. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter, mention on there, leave a comment. Those are the most direct ways. Is it still printing the Raft? This is a good... I think it's probably still doing the Raft. I'm not really... it's a long time since I've seen a Raft. I'm not exactly sure. Oh no, this is the top. So the Raft does like that sparse layers, and then it does one very flat layer. This is that very flat layer. So this is basically forming that new base, if you like, and then I believe it starts printing again on top of that. Press the forward button at 5x, please. If it has play, you should have this button to fast forward. That would be good. It needs like a double arrow or triple arrow fast forward button. But Rafts, excuse me, I just had dinner before this, so it's all, yeah, apologies. Rafts are nearly always done slow anyway. Like, it's been so long. I think I've only ever used a Raft like 2 or 3 times, and it's probably been 2 years since I've even looked at one. But I'm pretty sure you're doing really slow, don't you? Like even slower than a normal first layer. The smell is mostly gone. It doesn't, I mean, my smelling doesn't work particularly well anyway, but the cooling fan's off at the moment. It looks like it's stuck reasonably well to the bed, so we should be okay. Would you please push the time-lapse button? 5 minutes still printing the Raft. Yeah, so there, this printer does have, which is, it's on the SD card, which is, should have checked the SD card before putting it in the printer. And then I could have seen if there was anything on there what we could look at in the meantime. There could be, for all we know, there might be some Marlin firmware on here. Probably not, but there might be some Marlin firmware on here. Of course, there's also, not literally here, it's here, but it does also have, they have their Labists slicing software. Lab Slicer, it's called. So that's probably something we can maybe take a look at. You don't even have to install it, apparently. It just runs, I think you can copy it to your desktop or wherever you want to copy it to, and then you can run it directly without install. Oh, now it's doing a really flat layer the other way. Well... It's probably, I mean, as with many low-cost, cheap printers, it's probably like the old, like 13.5 version of Cura before even the current like overhaul version. I only use Rafts for tolerance tests, and only ones created with S3D or ID Maker. The previous slicer Rafts are crap. No, you cannot fit 1 kilogram spool. I think if you did, you'd probably crush the printer. Let's see if we can get a 1 kilogram spool for scale. Here we go. This is the only filament of ABS I've had open in the last 4 years. So this is a 1 kilogram spool. Compared to this printer. Yeah. You cannot mount this spool on this printer. For obvious reasons. Yeah, I should show you the slicer, and I wish I'd looked at the SD card before starting this print, because now I'm stuck. That would have been the perfect thing to do in the meantime. I don't really want to start it again because it's taken ages just to do this. There probably is Marlin. If they would supply Marlin, I'm sure it would be on the SD card. Not so you can flash the firmware from the SD card, but because this is the only digital media they're providing, and you can't download it on the website. So if it is using Marlin, which we really have no way to check, I don't think. Is there like some secret way you can check whether something is running Marlin? I have no idea. I did have a look briefly. They don't seem to have a download section. They have like contacts and FAQs, but they don't seem to have a... Maybe it's on support. Let's have a look. This printer is sold out on their US website. Ooh. I thought it was doing something different for a minute. Everyone relax, it's just the same as before. Troubleshooting's video guide, user guide. How to set up Cura 4.5. Get started with the lab slicer. Okay, let's see if... While this is, you know, doing this thing, which is going to take ages, let's see if I can... do the motors get warm? This one is warm, yes. You can actually tune that. Ooh, that's warm as well. Right, I'm just having a look on the website to see if I can find the page that I found on my phone. I think it was in support. No. Shipping, warranty, terms. No. Yeah, I've lost it. Damn it. Let's go to the product. No, it wasn't here. FAQs, return policy, shipping and warranty, warranty extension, product. Learn. Learn. User guide. That was it. How to set up Cura 4.5. Labists X1 tutorial. 3D printer troubleshooting. Let's see if we can download the benching. We'll see if we can get this done. Connect with Prontoface to simplify 3D or do it M115. Ah, yes. I don't... Do I want... Oh. It started the print. It started the actual print. I don't know what the print is, but it started it. Oh yeah, it is definitely... it's Atmega 1284p. Download Benchy. Survey. How am I supposed to know what it is? There's no way to know. Okay, it looks like a vase mode print, which is good because that means it won't take too long. Well, hopefully. Too much longer, as I say. They have a troubleshooting guide on their website. They have a Google Drive download link for... I really don't like downloading stuff like this. It just looks so suspect. You probably can't see what it is from back there, can you? No, no better than I can, really. It's like a kind of cross-shape thing, but it's not a shape I'm particularly familiar with. The vaccine for corona. I doubt it's that. If it was, it would be very unlikely to be... It's definitely not benchy either. I mean, we can all guess what it is. Let's all have a guess and see if anyone's right. It's unbelievably slow. It seems to be stopping for some reason. Oh, they are kind of sharpish corners, I guess. Man. Oh, it uses Unity. Yeah, and Cura engine. Lab slicer data. Okay, I'll get it up and running in just a second, then I'll share a mono bleeding. Okay. My computer doesn't want to run it because it thinks it's a dangerous file, and honestly, I am not totally certain myself. Well, what's the worst that could happen? Ooh! No, it doesn't really look like the rocket, I don't think. Oh no, it could be actually. You might be. Oh, if it's a rocket, it's going to take forever. Okay, well, on the product page halfway down, it shows a rocket shape in one of their products. Oh yeah, it's probably that then. Yeah, it's not hugely fast. So Lab Slicer. Okay. I need to add a screen so you can see this. How do I do this? Trouble is, as soon as I go to a new one, I think it's just going to instantly show that. So I'll probably see you in a second once I've set up this scene. We'll see how that goes. Lab Slicer. Okay, hopefully you've got audio now. Yeah, sorry, I was just setting up a new profile so I can share this. I know there's no video at the moment, so yeah, a whole scene in Streamlabs includes capture of audio, visuals, and everything. So when you saw that screen, did you see Streamlabs or did you see the sliced thing? Because it looked like it was just capturing the Streamlabs. That's just not it, is it? Oh dear, well this works excellently. I'm going to have to risk it with a display capture instead. Can we... Nope. This is just terrible, isn't it? Nope. Whoever voted rocket, I think you're probably right. Pointing the camera at the monitor is just hugely impractical. I don't understand why it refuses to just capture this window. Well, this is excellent. To be fair, that print quality actually does not look too bad. But then it is exceptionally slow as well, so let's take that into account. You've missed this. I'm actually quite impressed. Maybe I shouldn't be, it's quite an easy print, but it's respectable. Is there some part cooling going on? That's the question. I can't feel a whole lot of cooling. Oh. Sorry. I still just want to get this blooming screen sharing properly. There is part cooling. There is a part cooling fan. Don't tell me what there is and isn't. This is the fan, and there's a 3D printed duct. I don't know if Labists have added that themselves, but there is a little... it's the only 3D printed thing on this. There's a little duct that comes down, and it has this fan on the front. I just don't think it's actually moving any air, which is, you know, unfortunate. It's not necessarily trivial to make a duct that is actually effective, because there's many factors that you have to deal with. Fluid mechanics is not a simple beast to tame. TPU prints were good. That would be a surprise. Would you have to spend 120 on this, 150 on an Ender 3? Well, I don't think you can get an Ender 3 for 150 at the moment. These you can get for 120 now. Ender 3s seem to be like price hiked because of everyone buying them to print PPE. So if I wanted one right now, yeah. The thing is, it's not so much would I buy it, it's would I get it for someone else. An Ender 3 is quite big as a kids thing. It's quite a lot more printer. I think on normal price, right, you could get Ender 3s for like 180, 190, maybe 200. It's difficult call. The Ender 3 is a lot more capable, I think. Having proper Nemo motors and all this kind of stuff. The speeds are higher. I don't know what the hot end looks like on that. It'd be interesting to look and find out what the maximum flow rate is. Yeah, probably not going to be printing much PPE on this. I mean, it works straight out of the box, so that's a pretty good result. If you're buying it as a toy or learning accessory, or whatever you want to call it, learning tool, $182 versus 130. But is this more entertaining for a child, or is that... I wonder if an Ender 3 is quite intimidating. Obviously, I'm not a young person anymore. It's difficult for me to judge what a young person would want. But I guess maybe once you're 12, 13 and would probably be suitable to have something like this, an Ender 3 is not going to be that big a deal. It's difficult. Get it for your enemies. Yeah, 250 quid seems to be a much more normal price for Ender 3s at the moment, which is unfortunate. To be honest, even for 250 quid, an Ender 3 is still a pretty good printer. These two have turned out a lot of PPE, just day in, day out. And this Surface, which I got from And or Not, is actually pucker. It's so durable. Like it's just lasted every single print, and they're not damaged. Everything's stuck constantly. Anyway, we're not talking about those today. We're talking about this. I've heard that hot end is halfway between 3D pen and standard Mark 10. I wouldn't be surprised if it is 3D pen standard. Well, it's probably it's got to be beefier because it's 30 watts. The heater obviously won't be 30 watts. I've sort of given up on this Labists software, by the way, so sorry about that. Let's try again. I wonder if Streamlabs runs on Unity or something as well. Maybe. So that could be why it doesn't want to capture it at the same time. I'm going to switch to the black one. Don't worry, this is totally normal. Absolutely 100% intended operation procedure. Window capture. There we go, that sort of works. Okay. It's not perfect, but it is kind of acceptable. So, this is, I mean, it was in Chinese, well, presumably this is Chinese? I don't know. This is the Labists software. It appears to have crashed. I know. Oh, there we go. The buttons are all so tiny, I have no idea. Oh. So, downloads. Oh, I can't see chat at the moment, by the way, so apologies for that. Everything's just on one screen and I just can't see everything at once. There we go. We've got a benchy. Can I modify? Mini feed? No. Exit event, scene, source, stream preview, website. I want chat. Why can't I have chat? Oh, come on, please. Okay, doesn't seem to be an option to do that. Yeah, I do have, like, so this is just my streaming computer. Literally all I use it for is this stream, which is why I don't have two monitors for it, because it seems a little excessive. My normal workstation setup, I use two screens, and this laptop here I use with this screen for working sometimes. So, but this is not part of streaming, so. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to monitor chat for a few minutes, but we're going to take a look at Lab Slicer and see how that goes. Something like that. Cool. So, oh, it's really laggy. So it runs on Unity engine. Reset camera. Top, front, back, front, top. That's a weird top. Oh, there's probably perspective, isn't there? Yeah. I'd much rather orthogonal views, but there you go. Open, load STL model file, save. One key, custom. Fast, standard, oh, this is a really odd interface. How much does this look like Kira? A lot. And I can barely read it, it's so dark. Oh, 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 we've got a print. Okay, it goes to the back when it's finished, that's weird, but okay, let's keep looking at this for a bit. So, point two layers. 1.2. This is, so it's all kind of standard Cura settings in the custom one. We can do fast key, one key, so one click basically. Yep, those both goes to the fast, standard, optimize. That's fast. Analyzing model, slicing it. Oh, oh my days. Why is there a raft all the way out here? It's got support everywhere. 1 hour 39 minutes. speed, 50-50 bottom speeds. Top thickness, fill density, support, none. Adhesion, skirt, support angle, doesn't really matter, does it? Support amount, nozzle temperature, hotbed, brim line, raft, traction. Start slicing. Okay, so there you go. That's your look at that. 42 minutes. That's not too bad. We're not going to be doing a benchy today. I do apologise. If we'd have seen that earlier, then maybe we would have just done that benchy instead, because it took ages just to print this little rocket. Okay. Printer board is 32 Big Tree Tech custom board. The printer board? Do you mean the main board? This is not 32-bit board. This is what open source gives you. Joe Preacher's laughing all the way to the bank. Disable support. 139, that's actually near reasonable. 45 minutes is actually pretty quick. I want to give a close-up of this print. Not sure what the best way to do that is. I know. Well, firstly, we can do this from a distance. That's social distance streaming. Let's take this off the bed. Very good. I mean, to get this removable bed on a 120 quid or $95, whatever you want to call it, printer, it really shows that there is no reason to not have a removable bed surface on your printer today. Any 3D printer that does not have that is barking mad. Well, that came off nice and easily. And the raft? Not so easily. Oh! Pleasant surprise. Right, let's see if we can get some close-up shots of this. I'm not sure how the Brio is going to manage it. "32-bit Big Tree Tech board." Oh, I do not believe that. Sorry. It was that 3D Maker noob found that. Because this was an Atmega 1284p. I cannot believe you'd find a custom board. I mean, a 32-bit board in a 120 quid printer. Right. If anyone gets motion sickness, probably look away now. I'm going to move this camera in an attempt to get some closer shots of these prints. And that's the raft that you probably can't see too much of, but it's there. Oh, let's put it up against this. And then it... How's that focusing? Is it managing it, or is it not managing it? Sorry, I know it's a little bit wonky. Can we put something there to make it focus? There you go. I think you can see that print, can't you? That looks reasonably good. I mean, it's a very simple print, so... But for the price of the machine, it printed out of the box. There was no messing around. Nothing was broken or damaged or bent or anything like that, which you can't guarantee nowadays. The belts look a bit dry, so they might not last all that long. Maybe they will. it did take forever, this is true. But I think their settings are just particularly slow. Yeah, I don't think it's going to do a benchy in 42 minutes, but we can... ooh, the motors do get a little bit warm. I mean, they're not hot, so you definitely wouldn't burn your hands on them, I don't think. Let's have a quick poke around, see if we can burn ourselves on something, just to see if a child would. I mean, the nozzle is always one of those things which you can't obviously cover it. As soon as you do that, you're... yes, and you can't really get to anything on this. As a friendly looking and approachable machine, it does seem quite reasonable, but it seems quite expensive for a toy. So like if it was something you were only going to use one day or a couple of times, it's probably quite a lot considering how cheap you can get other printers like the Ender 3, for example, which is not necessarily that much more capable. I mean, it's the same kind of bed. You're really still limited mostly to PLA. So it's not, I mean, yeah, heated bed, so you can sort of do PETG on a Ender 3. It's just not great. If it can print ABS in a cardboard box, the hot end only goes to 180 degrees. That's what they say the limit is, so I don't think it's going to get hot enough to do any ABS of any kind. I did take the case apart earlier in the stream, so I'm not going to do that again now. But I will actually have a look in the hot end now that it's nice and hot. I don't know how you retract filament. Ah, you press and hold the minus button. Yeah, I did forget to take the hot end. Let's have a look at the hot end, see what that looks like. And then that will be the last thing. So I'm not going to print that benchy now. I'm not sure if I want to do a separate review video on this. I've got so many other things I want to do. This doesn't seem like a priority. But hopefully, well, I think it was quite interesting to take a look at nonetheless. Hopefully it gets you a pretty good idea of the sort of thing you'd get if you were to buy one of these or give it to somebody else. Obviously, when you give it to somebody else, you don't even get to see necessarily their experience. So yeah, I think 180 does seem very low. I'm assuming that it's a heating limitation. Remember, they've only got 30 watts to power the entire printer. An E3D V6 standard heater on its own is 30 watts. And that's the filament out. So that unloads pretty... oh, this stupid filament. Okay, well that's broken. I just tried to remove the clip so I could put it on the other side, and the whole thing just snapped off. Well, at least I have a 3D printer, so I could 3D print another one. That was a bit careless of me. Yes, let's see if we can take a look in here. This is now going to be hot, so... It also doesn't have any obvious screws, so this could be interesting. I'm going to leave the fan running for a minute so it cools the heatsink as I start taking it apart. I feel like I'm just going to break this, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Well, that was easier than expected. Okay, well this doesn't seem to be cooling the hot end. This seems to be cooling the motor. The hot end, that's weird. The hot end doesn't seem to have a cold end. Oh, this is interesting. Why do I always look at the screen? I need to look at the camera. Everything in here is going to be, oh, not that hot. Weird. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit of a close-up of this. Let's get this power out. I wish I had other camera options, but I don't, so we're going in with this one. I don't think there's much we can learn by taking it apart any further than this, actually, to be honest. So obviously you've got your stepper motor right at the top here, the heating end down here. Normally you'd see a cold end heatsink fan in here, but it looks like they're just using all the other metallic parts that it's joined to and a cooling fan in the top to rely on cooling it. That's presumably one of their limitations with their 180 degrees C max temp. I'm guessing that if it goes over 180, then it starts to have thermal issues with other parts. So whether it's, judging by the size of this tube here, one would assume that the PTFE is going all the way down to the nozzle, which would make sense. Not sure what that's for. This is warm, so this is obviously, it looks like the heater is around the edge here, because you obviously can't use a standard cartridge heater because there's no heat block. The thermistor is a glass bead thermistor which is attached on the back by Kapton tape. I am really not sure how this is being heated. There's heating wires going in here. I wonder if it's a coil, or if this wrap, presumably this white here with the Kapton shape on the top must be the heater. It's an interesting low power heater. It's quite an interesting design, actually, for something that's extremely low power usage, or at least fairly low power usage. Sorry, the light's probably terrible. Right, cool. So I don't think we're going to look at this anymore. I'm going to burn myself doing this. I'm just going to leave that there. Move this camera back. Okie dokie. So, apart from me tragically breaking this filament holder at the end, which was a little bit unfortunate, I didn't expect it to, because I took it out more than once, or at least, yeah, that's, Anyway, overall, I would say no, it's not a tool. I don't think this is something that you could use very consistently again and again and again. I wouldn't rely on this as a daily, if you like. The power, the heater is very limited because you've only got 30 watts to power the entire printer. whereas normally you would use 30 watts just for the heater. But in terms of simple to use, it's kind of simple in that there's very few buttons, but that does present challenges in terms of having one button that does like everything, like you press it once or you press it a couple of times or you hold it, and that to me is quite complex. I'd rather have a screen that just says this is the button that does this, but you can't win them all. For 130 quid, to be honest, I feel that's still quite expensive. If you can get an Ender 3 for around 180, that's a whole lot more than 50 quid's worth on top of this. And as a platform for support and the number of upgrades you could do if you wanted to, I think they're pretty good, fairly good as stock anyway, but the print quality is okay. You'd have to refine the profiles and check what speeds and things you can achieve, but the mass flow rate of plastic through the hot end is going to really limit the overall speed, whereas on the Ender 3 at least you have a proper hot end, cold end, heater cartridge style hot end. This is going to have very little thermal capacity and it's probably going to struggle, and maybe, I mean, if you get a jam, you will really be in a jam. We didn't get one today, but if you did have a print with, I mean, this is it's actually not a vase mode. It's not a vase mode, but it is just a shell. So if you had a print with more retractions and retraction was not calibrated really well, you could end up in a really bad clog scenario, which wouldn't be great. It's the inside of a 3D pen. It does look like a 3D pen. Oh, I can't see it anymore. Of course you can't. But yeah, that heating style where you don't have the block, and yeah, it's a 3D pen with a frame. It's a 3D pen plotter, also known as a 3D printer. No, the color difference to Prusa is totally different. It's not even slightly the same. This is more like a Prusa orange. Okay, they're quite similar. They look really similar on camera. They don't look as similar in real life. Anyway, that is going to be it now from me today. This has been the Labists Mini 3D printer, also known as other things if you bought it from elsewhere. You can buy them now on Amazon Prime, £120. If it's something you want to get for yourself or someone else. Could be a great tool for someone learning 3D printing, although other options at not too much more money are available, like the Ender 3. You might have to wait a little bit longer for that though. Also, if you want some filament, 250 gram spools which fit perfectly on this printer, provided you don't break the spool holder. 25-ish quid for 4 spools, 250 grams of PLA. Not super great value, but also not too bad either. Okie dokie. I think that's going to be it for me today. This is a 1 kilogram spool. It's a lot. Yeah. So, yes. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been good hanging out. Nice to do these a little bit earlier in the evening rather than like super late when I'm immediately collapsing and falling asleep and getting tired. So that's why I tried to cram it in as soon as I possibly could after working. So that's all that done today. I do have more other live streams planned. Part 2 of the Extrudinator rail upgrade. I've got basically everything I want and need to be able to do that now. Better lubrication, 2 different types of lubrication in fact. Methods for applying or setting up the rails to be a lot more perpendicular, not perfect. I don't have like machined blocks to ensure they're absolutely perfect, but some methods to do that a little bit better. So that's going to be something I can do next week, midweek, later this week, sometime. And I also got so these are all the parts needed, plus a spool holder, which is in there anyway, to do the Prusa Bear X-axis upgrade, or Prusa Exa, I believe it's now called. Prusa Bear Exa. Anyway, is the X-axis upgrade. Well, extruder and X-axis, I think it is. The whole lot. Boom. Done. Because my Prusa had some issues. Not like design issues, as in like I broke a thing. So it doesn't necessarily, you don't need to use bare upgrades on a Prusa. A Prusa prints very well without any upgrades at all. No upgrades, prints very well. But I thought it'd be fun to try something different. Doing it mostly so we can do a stream, and I think it'll be fun. So that's coming up too. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. There's people tuning out now, so it is time to go. What was I saying? Yes, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you want to see more. Those 2 streams are coming soon. And there's a Prusa Mini review coming tomorrow. So that's going to be amazing. You definitely want to watch that. That'll be 5 p.m. BST, not GMT. BST, British summertime in the UK, because we obviously changed the time. Yeah, 5 p.m. tomorrow. Prusa Mini review is coming live. That is going to be epic. So